Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Alex Lord. The Falcons, the Braves lost. You can't even kill a vibe. It would take a lot of Braves losses for me to come down from the high that has been made from the Atlanta Falcons. We've been asking them to do this all offseason, and we had gotten to the point where you're a couple weeks from the season or 3 weeks from the season. You're like, yes, nothing's going to happen. This is what they're going to do. I don't know if it was the injuries. I don't know if they had these things in the works. At this point, I don't care. I care that these moves happen. They get Justin Simmons added on to acquiring Matthew Judon, and now all of a sudden, two of the weakest links on this defense look. I don't want to necessarily say, safety for sure is a strength. Certainly a strength. But even the defensive line, it could be a better. If they get a little contributions, if a guy like Zach Harrison or Arnold Ebiketie or one of these rookies steps up and becomes a competent starter, you have a strength in the defensive line. You have a strength in the secondary. You have a strength in the second level. And we're starting to ask here, where aren't the strengths? We know corner is it. But outside of that, you're looking at a pretty damn good roster that I'll say it. This is a team that can contend in the NFC. I haven't said that about. We are not the guys that are going to sit here and just say blow smoke up your butt. We are not those guys.
Yeah.
This is a team. This is a roster with the addition of Matthew Judon and Justin Simmons to get excited about. And now we were excited for football season no matter what. We were excited for Desmond Ridder. I am now giddy. I cannot wait until week one. It can't get here fast enough. And I think all Falcons fans are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's time to start loving again. You know, you get back on the horse, you get your heart broken, you just get back on the horse, and it's time to love again. It's time to get our hopes up. It's time to start, potentially opening up yourself to being hurt again, because this Falcons team might be worth getting your hopes up about. Now, obviously, a lot of things have to go right. Like, there's still Jimmy Lake's a first-time coordinator. Zach Robinson's a first-time coordinator. Raheem Morris, we still have questions about him as a head coach. Kirk Cousins is a quarterback who has, exemplified the good but not great kind of player. So there's still questions, but this is in no way, shape, or form even close to the roster it was at the beginning of the offseason. This is a roster that can absolutely compete with the best teams in the NFC. You're talking about one Brock Purdy injury away from the 49ers should be considered favorites still, but the Lions aren't head and shoulders better than the Falcons. There isn't a team right now in the NFC that's head and shoulders better than the Falcons. And if they go out and they, maybe they pick up another pass rusher that somebody cuts or a cornerback that somebody cuts that's a starting caliber guy, we're cooking. This is a team, it's balanced. It's a type of team that it feels like it could potentially play from behind, play from ahead, win in multiple ways, win a grimy game, win a game throwing the ball a ton, running it on Bijan Robinson and Tyler Rodgers. This is a team that's constructed in a way that it feels like it can win multiple games. It feels like the defense has enough oomph to defend against the run. The guys on the back end, I know I'm going to continue to harp on Mike Hughes, should not be, we shouldn't go into the season with Mike Hughes being our CB2. He should be our CB4, first guy off the bench type of. But Justin Simmons, not only, first of all, Justin Simmons is obviously going to cover up a ton of Mike Hughes and whoever, D. Alford and maybe Troy Anderson or Nate Landman struggles in coverage, whatever. That's going to open up a bunch of stuff because Justin Simmons is that good. Now, I don't think a lot of people, and I just thought about this, Jesse Bates is going to be even better because Jesse Bates was so great last year with trying to cover up for a bum in Richie Grant. He was doing his job and also half of Richie Grant's job, or trying to, maybe do a little bit more than he was supposed to be doing. Justin Simmons is going to free Jesse Bates up. Jesse Bates could be even better than he was last year.
I think that going back to what you're saying, the way that you can win in multiple ways, that's what intrigues me most about this defense, because it feels like they can defend in multiple ways because these pieces are so versatile. Jesse Bates is a guy that can rush the passer. He's good against the run. He's great in that free safety role, but now Justin Simmons can play a little bit more of that. They can take the ball away. They can cover up Mike Hughes, and it's everywhere, right? You have a lot of young guys that we don't quite know, and when you have
real defensive line rotation.
Yeah, when you have them on the defensive line with Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, and Matthew Judon, that's going to free them up so much. And then we talked about the linebackers all offseason, Nate Landman and Troy Anderson could be on the field, Caden Ellis, all three of them could be on the field. There's so much versatility. Caden Ellis has shown he can pass rush. Troy Anderson at times. Jesse Bates can rush the pass. There's so many ways. If you're Jimmy Lake right now, It's like you have all the pieces here that this should be like a defensive coordinator's dream because of that versatility. And you can really make a quarterback's life a living hell. You can rush 5 and feel comfortable on the back end. You can drop everyone in cover. There's so many things that you can do because your pass rush now can get there on its own. Like this defense can win in multiple ways, and the offense too. Like we ran the ball so damn well with absolutely no pass game. Like that's going to be such an advantage for this team. They can lean on that, and Kirk Cousins doesn't even have to do that much to win games, as we saw a year ago. But if we need it, we can throw the ball over the yard. You can control the game however you want to. I mean, there is reason to be excited because at both sides. We talked about complimentary football with Chris Draft. This is like complimentary football on both sides and everything you can do. If they get another corner, I will be talking crazy on the internet.
Yeah, borderline top. So this was a defense that we talked about that if they could just be average, that this offense would help them win a lot of games. This defense is now on paper, and a lot can change. You know, we're just talking about on paper. We haven't seen these guys play. On paper, this defense can win us a game. Where 2 weeks ago we were hoping they just don't lose us the game. That's what we were talking about. Now, if the offense falters a little bit, the defense looks like it on paper good enough to pick them up. Like they could win a game. And I think, all eyes have got to be on Zach Robinson and Jimmy Lake at this point. I mean, because they have all the tools necessary to put together if everything goes right on the defensive side of the ball, we could have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. Super Bowl. That's how you win a Super Bowl.
Top 10, I feel like, is we're not even saying like the peak. Like we talked about the peak of this Falcons. It could easily be in the top 5. And now you're talking about this defense. Like they get another cornerback, it could be a top 5. This was a defense that was a borderline top 10 unit without half the talent, without Judon and without Justin Simmons and a healthy Grady Jarrett. Now you have all 3 of those things, and there still could be additions coming. I think the one thing all Falcons, and we don't want to be wet blankets because this is a celebratory day. But why, when we have absolutely no cap space, right? No cap space, but we know what we really have cap space, and that's what we learned over this day. Why, over the last 10 years, we've been waiting for these exact same moves, and with absolutely no cap space, we were able to make them. Why has it taken this long to make these pretty obvious moves?
I have questions that I would love answers to. If Atlanta media would do their damn job and just ask some hard-hitting questions, I would love to know why it took a DeMarco Hellum 7th-round pick injury and a Braylon Trice, who people were thinking was going to play a big role. Those guys getting injured sparked you to go get a Pro Bowler and an All-Pro. That's what it was. It was like they are so clearly better than the guys that they are replacing that I'm questioning whether it was always coming down the pike or what is going on. I agree with you. I think what a lot has to do with it is Raheem Morris is working. In terms of when we hired him, they said, he's infectious. He's a good leader of men. He can connect to everybody. He's going to lean on his relationships. Well, we saw it immediately with Zach Robinson. Zach Robinson was highly coveted this offseason across. The Saints wanted him. Every team with an open offensive coordinator position wanted Zach Robinson. We got him. Raheem Morris, and that relationship helped. And then Raheem Morris goes to dinner with Justin Simmons. That certainly helps. And having Kirk Cousins, believe it or not, no, he's not Tom Brady. All pros aren't taking the vet men like they did with Tom Brady to go to play for the Bucs that one year, which was total crap. But he's good enough where they're like, okay, we had that guy, we had this guy, we can really do something. Like Kirk Cousins is a type of guy. He's not Marcus Mariota. He's not Desmond Ridder, which is still crazy that we got Calais Campbell. I don't know what Arthur Smith, that's got to be asked too down the road. Like, what did Arthur Smith say to Calais Campbell or show him that made him believe like, oh, wow, this team can actually win a Super Bowl with Ridder? That's crazy. This is different. Like, there's multiple things.
I don't think there's any doubt that the Raheem Morris, the recruiter, which isn't typically something that you're looking for in NFL head coaches, is working. And it's not just working from the guys that he's out there acquiring. Like, he's got guys already completely bought in. The biggest players on this team, the Jesse Bates, the Grady Jarrett's. Like, Grady Jarrett was on Good Morning Football, and he was smiling ear to ear. And yes, it's because of the acquisitions, but that's something that stems from stuff that's been going on in the building for months and ever since Raheem Morris took over. And I think he has everybody pulling on the same rope. We talked about, and we talked about this being a difficult situation to navigate with the Penix and Kirk. It doesn't even feel like any of it. Everybody seems to know their role, their job, and is excited to play for the Atlanta Falcons. Yeah. And that infectiousness is spreading to free agents. And I guarantee you, the season's not starting there. They know that there's a hole out there at corner. They're probably not done yet. And whether it happens now or their trade deadline or whatever, that people want to come to play for Atlanta. And you have Raheem Morris that is right at the center of why that is. And listen, there's a lot more to being a head coach than just bringing in talent, but the talent certainly helps. He has been great leading up to the start of the season.
I think the next best thing that's going to help out that area is the fans. Like once, opposing teams come into Mercedes-Benz and they're like, oh, damn, like, we came here 2 years ago and it was a ghost town. Like now, this is a fun environment. This is a good environment. Like you think that might, all right, at the end of the day, it's dollars and cents. Guys want to get paid most of all. But there are tons of other factors that go into a person's decision of where he wants to play and who he wants to play with. And fans in the building certainly play a part. So that's the next aspect I'm looking at is like, and I think we're going to get it in spades this year. Like, first of all, I think Falcons fans are obviously excited for Raheem Morris in this season, especially after these acquisitions. But seeing Arthur Smith on the other side of that sideline is going to spark something in fans where we haven't had this in such a long time. Like, whether it's excitement or hatred, I don't care why you're yelling, but I expect it to be loud. I'm so excited about this season. Legitimately open up your heart to be heard again because there's reason to be excited in Atlanta again.
And Raheem Morris you're right. I mean, he isn't just selling the players that are in there externally, whatever you want to say. He's selling the fans.
Next
and the
free agency.
But the fans are buying in. This team – Raheem Morris is a guy that you can root for. Everybody wants Raheem Morris to succeed in Atlanta. And it's just from who he is as a person. Mm-hmm. And now he's actually making changes. And you see those changes even before he's coached his first game. Like, we're all in. We're all in on the bandwagon. Even the most pessimistic guys, and we've been up here pessimistic, we're in. Like, we are buying what you're selling, Raheem. Yeah. Take us to the promised land. Let's get this done. I mean, I haven't been this excited for Falcons football in years.